start with the headline, which is that it's job complete, top of the group. You know potentially what your next opponents are in terms of Brest, PSG, Monaco or Benfica at this stage. So overall, when we look at the overall campaign, and now you've obviously progressed as well, how do you feel?
Positive, not because of the result today, but to end up first is always good. And the performance today was also pleasing to see, with so many players that were either not playing on their own position or playing for the first time on this stage. So then to keep up with this PSV team was, especially in the first half, was good to see. I saw some good performances from individuals as well. Many of them made for the first time 90 minutes, so that's also positive. But yeah, if we end up 1 or 2, if you can choose, you prefer to end up 1, but it doesn't matter for the teams you face. And the end result is that you always check, okay, who do we face? And we see 3 strong French teams and 1 Portuguese team. So the end result is also that there are hardly any easy opponents to face if you end up first, second, or 7 or 8.
I want to talk about the building blocks of those young players you was talking about, because they say in those type of experiences they may take more, even though they were experiencing defeat tonight. What did you see in terms of some of those young players that were thrusted into an intense environment?
It was an intense game because PSV always takes the risk to play man-mark all over the pitch, and they're not afraid to press you high and like I said, man-mark. So then you don't have a lot of time. We try to do the same as well, press them high also, so you get an exciting game where we saw 5 goals. But apart from that, I think there were a few of our players that had a good performance against this team, and one midfielder that made I think his debut on this level particularly stood out for me. If you look at, I think in 6-7 months, I'm not even sure if he played one time 90 minutes already, because he comes back from an injury. So to play a game like this on this level is very pleasing to see.
Credit to James McConnell in that as well. Overall, I think I'll just ask you just one more about the red card. I didn't see it from your vantage point. I only saw it up here in terms of a replay. But in a week where I'm very cautious about the conversations around referees, I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on the red card.
I was thinking, what do you mean within a week? But you mean Arsenal probably last week, yeah. I don't think. I haven't seen it back, but I don't think there's a lot to complain about the red card. What was a bit more frustrating, if I have to say something about the referee, because you asked me, that was the second goal where he was hindering, is that the right word, Wata, and then Wata got a slight knock, which is normally not enough for a foul. But after being in the way as a referee, maybe you can then say, okay, let's give a free kick, because then I haven't had any impact on the game. And the third one we conceded out in the 47 minutes, and I saw after 45 minutes the fourth official saying that it was 4 minutes of added time. But yeah, in the end it's about us having to defend that better. But the red card, I don't think we can argue that, but I haven't seen it back.
Nicely done, Arne. I don't really want to talk about referees, but if you ask me, I get a couple of criticisms.
He's great, isn't he?
He's impressive.
He's great.
He's a sharp cookie. So Liverpool beaten but top of the pile. Arsenal in the top 8, courtesy of a 2-1.
Oh, that would not be a good reward, bearing in mind they just keep getting stronger in this competition.
And they're a young team. Barcola on the left, who's come in for Mbappe, has been in absolute scintillating form. Enrique's got them going a little bit. There's signs that people have started to believe again in this squad. So that would be a terrible draw for Liverpool, but PSG will not be thanking them either. They wouldn't want to play. Nobody will want to play Liverpool. Liverpool are the form team.
Are Brest the ones you want? That wouldn't be the booby prize.
Nicely done. I was wondering how he was going to navigate his way out of that.
On that note, guys, we will leave it there. That is it from me, Joe and Peter.
It's what they've all gained from it. They should take it. They've run themselves into the ground. A lot of the players, there was good performances from the more experienced ones. Listen, I don't know too much more what we could have wanted from it. Yes, I would have liked to have got a draw at least out of it. I thought the referee, coming from the Nationwide League, has done pretty good for some of his decisions that he's made in that second half in particular. So, all round, I thought it was a decent display by the boys.
Jay?
Really positive, you know. If I first and foremost look from a point of view of Liverpool, you know, you don't really ever want to lose a game. We've been unbelievable in the Champions League so far this season to pick up 7 wins. To lose a game right at the end is obviously a little bit disappointing, but I think there's more positives to take than there are disappointments. You know, personally for me, seeing a lot of the young lads get opportunities and hold their own, you know, the highest cup competition, you know, in the world. You know, especially for me, James McConnell, I thought he throughout the 90 minutes worked his socks off. He was good on the ball. He never shied away. Dan's really worked hard up on the front line. But as I felt the experienced boys, just like Tomo said, I think they really rallied around them, helped them and guided them through the game. So a lot of positives to take. We're through, sat top of the tree, and we move on to the next one.
And as you said before the match, it was a position that Liverpool had earned the right to be in. And because of that, there are some good things to come from the night. As Jay said, some of the senior players, I mean, we said his name a lot whilst we were watching the game there. Federico Chiesa to get through the full thing, and showed some really nice flashes throughout the match.
And this is what I'm saying, him and Robbo and Endo, I thought the attitudes to it and Tsimikas was top class. But you look at Chiesa, I thought he actually got better. And I was thinking, I was worried for the boy, because I think even Babby was saying in his commentary, you know, he's not going to get to 60 minutes, you know, because he's still getting his way back after injury. I thought his performance was fantastic. He was still going. In the last 5 minutes, he was trying to urge us, trying to go for it. And I think Arne Slot will have looked at Danny going, yeah, that'll do for me. As much as all the young lads have given me something, this boy's had a difficult time through injuries. And to me, as I said beforehand, there's a lot of things there which he's doing better. He's looking a lot fitter.
It was interesting that you talked about the younger players, a lot of those who you know pretty well, and John Bradley was actually mentioning your name in commentary tonight of your early experiences of playing Champions League football. And I just wonder whether you get out onto that pitch and you think, oh, OK, this is the level then. And I know you were training alongside the likes of Steven Gerrard every day, so you know the level. But, you know, in a game-to-game sort of combat, you're like, OK, well, this is where I want to get to.
Yeah, the Premier League is an incredible, you know, level. You're playing alongside Stevie G, training with him, Mascherano, the Alonsos. You know, they were world-renowned players of a high level. But the Champions League, for me, is another level. I think, you know, to go and play against the world-class players from all around the world, game after game after game. A big bit of advice for the boys, which I tried to give them before, it was just get a touch of the ball as quick as you can. You know, I think, you know, Tomo's been played at the highest level, won European Cups and, you know, done all of it. But that first touch of a ball for a young boy to go on and get a touch and feel, you just feel as if like the weight of the world will then just relax. You know, you can concentrate on your game, you can get on it, you can be brave. And that for them, you know, they grew into the game as the game went on. I felt that James, you know, really showed his class in the receiving. He got on the ball and played. He wasn't shying away from things. And, you know, if you can go and express yourself at the highest on the Champions League format in a probably a big deciding game for PSV, but also for us and finishing first and second, I think, you know, hopefully you can crack on from now and do more.
For James, it is about decision making on the ball when you're playing in his position. And I thought he got most things right. There was at times in that final third, particularly in the first half, we got wrong choice all the time. But that's people who want to take a chance. For James McConnell to be in there at times is keeping it. But don't get too lazy. Don't take the easy option. When it can go forward quickly, do it. And his choice of passing, I thought, was top class. He'll have been one massive benefit to Arne.
I guess the other point about the young players, and we're talking about the level of the opposition, but you just touched on the fact that this was a really live game for PSV tonight. And again, the atmosphere in Eindhoven is something, again, you can take something from playing in a game that has such significance, maybe not for your own team, but certainly for the other team.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, I think you have to put into consideration for these young boys going there. At under 21 level, we can never really replicate, you know, the stadium, the atmosphere, the level of opposition. So for players to then go and play against, you know, probably PSV's strongest 11, you'd say not far off it, is an unbelievable experience for all of them. You know, they have to go and handle it. They can't hear, you know, coaches from the side shouting. They can't probably hear teammates shouting from the side as well. So everything's, you know, through instinct and picking up things from themselves and, you know, knowing around them what's around them at the time. And I think, you know, I agree with Tomo. I think his decision making and the, you know, build-up play in the midfield phase was really, really good. But I also enjoyed him trying to make killer passes. You know, you want players to try and express themselves, you know, in the right areas and express themselves and show people what they're about.
Sorry, I'm just thinking now of them showboating near the end. I was thinking, oh my goodness, if there was a Jimmy Case out there, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, they're playing against 10 men, and they're all back heels and flicks and all this. Sorry about that, Rob.
No, that's absolutely fine. I've now got an image of a Dutch player being in orbit somewhere, everything booted high into the night sky in Eindhoven.
Just give me one. 50-50.
We've spoken a little bit there about James McConnell.
Thank you.
Let's get the thoughts then of our...
Like expected, I think. Eventful game with many goals. I think everybody expected that before the game. For two reasons, maybe. One of the reasons, I think two managers always want to press high, want to bring the ball out from the back. So sometimes you see then certain mistakes, but it's always eventful. And for the other reason, because both teams, maybe mainly ours, was not playing in the setup that we usually do. So then you see in some moments that we defend in a way what probably is not expected if we play with all of our starters. But still, in the end, we were able to definitely make a game out of it. With all, especially in the end, with all these youngsters on the pitch. So eventful would be my word to use.
It's the first time that Federico Chiesa's completed 90 minutes. Did that feel like a big step forward for him tonight? And he seems to be getting a lot sharper.
Yeah, and he got a knock with the penalty, so that took him a few minutes before he kept going again. But I think it's been 7, 8 or 9 months ago, maybe even longer. I don't know exactly. He played 90. It's the same for Jayden Dance. It was the same for James McConnell. So we had quite a lot of players that were not used to playing so many minutes in the last 6 or 7 months. So it's especially for them also important that they make these 90 minutes. And were able to keep competing during 90 minutes. Okay, Jayden couldn't manage to play the whole game. But Federico, in the end, was still sprinting, trying to do his work. So positive, yeah.
You must have a hell of a lot of sympathy for the poor lad who's just come on there, only played 4 minutes. What could you say to him to lift the spirits? Because it's so cruel, really, what happened to him at the end.
Come on. Yeah, it's cruel, but he's never played first-team football yet. And then to make your debut at the Champions League level is probably the hardest way of making your debut. And yeah, I think he misinterpreted the situation. Yeah, and that is immediately a problem at this level or a Premier League level. So it's a big moment for him to learn from. And it is cruel indeed. You think in a moment like this, 10 minutes for the end, I'm going to make my debut not in the Premier League, in the Champions League. And a few minutes later you go off with a red card. That is always difficult. But yeah, a career mainly is not always positive. There are also negatives, and he has to fight very hard to make sure he will ever play a second Champions League game again, which is not going to be easy, but hopefully he will.
Hi, Arne. Do you think there's a chance that any of the young players that played tonight might be allowed to go out on loan before the transfer deadline?
There's always a chance in life. And at the moment we have most of our players fit, so we will have this discussion tomorrow, I think, me and Richard, about these players, but there's definitely one of them that will not go on loan, and I think you know which one I mean.
Jayden?
James McConnell. I wouldn't say definitely, but I liked him a lot today. So maybe now the end result of today is that would be good for him to go somewhere and play. But he is also a player that hasn't played in the last 6 or 7 months 90 minutes because he was injured for a while. And